All right, welcome back from that short break that we took. Let us proceed with our class, and as we continue, this is going to be much more and more interesting. So, hey, what is this music doing here? All right, let's proceed. So, I don't want to repeat some of the things that we already talked about in our previous introductions, much as those introductions were really so basic. But now, let us do something tangible, okay? So let's just go ahead and play with these tools that we have just introduced. So I'm just going to use the selection tool and drag over the entire artboard so that I can select all this together at once, and I just press delete and it will all disappear. Let me use Ctrl Z to bring it back. So if I don't want to drag over everything to select everything, you can still press Ctrl A, that shortcut, and it will select everything. Then you can delete. So ladies and gentlemen, those are some of the things we can be doing. So let's just go ahead and play with this tool. So now let's assume accidentally we realize this line, it's supposed to be behind the star, so means we have to bring the star in front and send this line behind. So let's learn how to arrange, okay? How to arrange using Illustrator. So we select on the one we want to arrange, then we right click onto it and we go to arrange, then we click send to back. We can send to back or we can send it backward. So when we send it backward, it will go with one step. Okay, if we want to do it again, you can follow the same procedure and but here it's telling us instead of clicking here and arrange then send backward, the shortcut is Control plus this open bracket, not the sign, please. So I can just press on my keyboard Control, then that shortcut, and I keep pressing. You can see now at this point the line has gone, this line has gone behind this. I can let it remain like that if that's what I want. So that's what you can do. Please, you can go ahead and practice that. It should not be really so hard. It is that easy. It is that simple. Now that is how to arrange. You can still bring like this shape. You can bring it in front, right click, go to arrange, then bring forward or bring to front. Now if you want to bring to front, means it will be in front, and the shortcut for bringing in front, arrange, bring to front, is that one. So it will come to front, and the shortcut for bring to front is this. Check it out. It is shift plus control plus that bracket. So I can just go on my keyboard and press shift control and it will come in front, or I can take it behind by one step, behind by another step, okay, one step each at a time. Or I can just bring it to front, take it to back. So please just note these shortcuts and know how to play around with them. Okay, you can always increase the size of any shape using this arrow in the corner. Select it, use the selection tool, select the item or the object, then you can click from here. Once it brings you that arrow, you can drag and enlarge it in any direction you want. Okay, and when you bring the cursor not onto it but slightly near it, outside here, it will bring for you that arrow. I hope you can see the arrow which is curved. It means rotating. So you can click and hold and rotate. You see, you can click and hold and rotate. You can bring around there, bring around the sides here, click and hold, rotate. Okay, but not like you bring it inside. Just bring near. You first select using the selection tool. You select it and bring the arrow near. Now what else should we talk about? I've already showed you how we can use anchor points, add anchor points, delete anchor points, adjust. I just wanted to introduce how we can play around with these things before we can actually do some actual design, because in our next task, I want us to do something tangible. I want us to start from scratch and redesign something. And please, sorry about that. Let's continue. We are still trying to play around with these. I'll be showing you a lot more things as we go on. We may not follow the notes because it's really so broad, and if we are to follow the notes, we shall take too long. So whatever we talk about, please take note of it and make sure you understand it. Now we showed you how to draw this. So every time you draw an object like this, there are two things involved. There is the sides, we call it the stroke. the boundary, the edges. Then there's what we call the fill inside it. Okay, so the edges, we call it the stroke, then the fill. So as you can see, for this case here, the fill color is blue, and the edges, what we call the stroke, is black. So we can change the fill color from this icon. We can just click this drop cap and we choose another color to green. How about the edges, what we call the borders or the strokes? We can change it to another color. We can bring it to blue. We can also increase the size of the edges from here. So the stroke size or the stroke weight is always from here. When you click here, we have very many other weights here. We can choose 8. Now you can see. Okay, these are not two shapes, please. It's one shape, but the edges or what we call the stroke has been colored blue, and it has been given a weight of 8. We can give it a weight of 19. You see, it may look like there are two shapes, so please take note of that. Now we also have the variable width profile. We can change this to this so that the edges will not be uniform. It will be distorted according to this one. And the roundness, we can choose this. This may not have effects here. Let's choose it again. You can see. So the edges is now actually, it's more interesting. It's looking more artistic. So we can play around with it. Now there's what we call opacity. We can make it to be faded. It's here. Opacity. We can set this one. Opacity is by default 100%. Now let's reduce opacity and we observe. If we put it to 60%, you see, it has faded away. We can always reduce it. We can even put it to 10. So to 10%, you cannot even see it properly. So assuming you wanted this one to be a watermark in the background, now you can properly use it as a watermark because it is really so faint. So that is opacity. And there's what we call styles. We can choose any of the styles here. So let's first bring our opacity to 100% so that we can see the effects. So we can always use these styles. Now when you choose the style, you can see the shape which we are having, what it has turned to. So we can always play around. So we are still on these shapes. Some of the few effects that we can always use on these different shapes. These are the things that we are talking about tonight. We are still doing here and there. We are not yet doing something from scratch to hand because we have to introduce ourselves. We have to get these tips. We have to understand this, how it works, and everything moves on. Let us go back to the type tool. We can do, my page is getting full. So let us create another page, okay? Let's create another page. Remember here, we don't call it pages, we call it artboards. So I'm using the word page because we are still used to it. So let's create another artboard. If you want to create the second artboard, we said you come to this tool, this artboard tool. Then we just draw from here. Yeah. But now you realize the second page is smaller than the first one. But we can change the size and make it to be equal. For example, if we click on this first one, it will show us up here the size. The height is telling us the x-axis, what we call the height, it's 10.5 centimeters. Then the width is, this is the width, x value. The width 10.5. Then the y-axis or the y value is this. So we can just copy this x, then we come and select this one and we paste it onto for x also, but we just keep its value, negative value, because it's on the other side. Now the reason why it's negative because it's on the left side of this first one. If it's on the right side, so we just paste the other value, Control V. We didn't copy the other one. Fine, we just come here, copy this value, Control C, then select this one. Control V. Then we come to this y value. Control C, copy. Come to this. Control V. What's wrong? Okay, what is it? 14.85. Copy, then come to this one. Control V, paste it. Something is not right. Okay, something is not right. Apologies. Fine. I'm going to check what is happening. And but we have a simpler option. Instead of us creating manually by deleting, sorry, let's delete. How do we delete? If we want to delete this page, if we draw over it, we can't delete. We just come back to the artboard tool. After selecting it, then we press delete, it will disappear. So you can add another page by doing this simple step. You can go still to the add this. Instead of drawing, you come and click on presets, F4. So you draw a new one. You draw like this. Then you come back into that bracket and you click F4 so that it can resize itself to F4. Now you can reposition it so that it can be aligned. Okay, so we have our page 2, what we call artboard 2. But it's always advisable to put artboard 2 to the right, to the other side. But for now, let's just use that. We don't have a lot of time. Okay, now let's go ahead and do something. We were talking about the text tool. So let's come here and convert it to the normal text tool. And we write something here, for example, Agape. We can increase the font size. Remember we said, so the font size, you come to character and size, we can set it to any value like 60 or 72. Now before we go ahead, okay, I was forgetting this. I'm really so sorry. You may open Illustrator and yours is not you're not seeing it like this. Okay, sorry about that. You may open Illustrator. Okay, after opening Illustrator, you don't see yours showing like this. You can always change the window. So you come to Windows, then Workspace, then change it. So I'm using Essentials, but you can set yours to Typography. After setting it to Typography, the way it will appear. Now this is how it will appear. I hope we are getting this. When you change it to typography, this is how it will appear. So make sure the window, the workspace you're using is okay for you. So for now, let us all use the Essentials, because the Essentials, it can do typography and photography at the same time. So let's get back to the typography tool that we are using. We have written the word Agape here. Now, there is a common mistake that people make after writing the word here. Remember we said for shapes, you can just click the sides and drag it and the size will increase automatically. But here for text, even if you also drag, the size will increase. Now, but when you look at the word Agape, the person who designed the font that we have used here did not intend to have it used like that, because here the width is small, the height is more. So you may end up distorting by just dragging like that. So if you want to always increase the size, please use this character tool and you just increase the font size manually from here. You can choose any value you want. You can choose maybe 200, 300. It is you're doing. You can choose. But if you just drag it locally like this, you may end up distorting it. But if you're careful enough, you can use it. Now, we also have other things about character. That is the text font size. We also have spacing here. So if we have 2 lines, for example, bring it down here and I have Agape Media like this. I can control the spacing. Remember always, if after typing like this, go back to the selection tool. Don't forget that, because you will get stuck there and you'll be wondering. So we can change the spacing between the two from here. We can set it to 6. Now you see 6 points how it's close. Even 10, it's too small. 60 is also small. Okay, 72 is still small, so let us increase it. Let's click on all this and we increase. So we can increase and we watch it. So if you say maybe this one is enough, then you stop there. So that is it. Spacing. Now this is what we call canning. People call it canning. I used to call it kinning, please. So kinning or canning, whatever you may call it, on I don't know. Yeah, but it's the space between one letter to another. So here it's under auto, but we can set it to any value. For example, we can set it to okay, it can only be used auto between 0 to modify. Use tracking options. Now these few things also. So we can highlight this and try to change that. Let's see if it's active. No, it's still not working. So we can no, it's still not working. But anyway, that's what it is. We can always play around with that. Now another tool we have is what we call let's check it back to auto. We also have, sorry, that was canning. No, I'm sorry about that. That's not canning. Now tracking. This is what we call tracking. The one I was talking about, tracking spacing. So here it's set to 0. but we can choose 50. Now you see the space between each and every letter. 100, it's more. 200, it's actually, you see. So that is it. That is the tracking. So we are setting the tracking for the selected characters. Another one here we can just increase the vertical scale. We make the text vertically long or more than the horizontal one. So we can also set the horizontal one from here. For example, we can change this one to 150. Now this is what 150 does. It means the letters will be fatter than it is tall. So we can bring this to 100, and also this is 100. So it means it's proportional. But if we set this to 25, now this is what it does. It means the height is 25%, then the width is 100%. So you can always play around with all those. Okay. Now other things we have, it's like the basement shift. We can decide to change the basement shift. For example, we can highlight this, change the basement shift from 0 point. Let's change this. Now you can, from here you can see the word agape. You see where G is standing. So that's what we have just done. Other options we have is for character rotation. For example, we can highlight this D. After highlighting D, we come to character rotation, then we change it. We change the degrees. So you can see letter D how it is. So this is how beautiful it is. Okay, this is how beautiful it is. And we shall be using or doing this all the time. We shall be playing around with them. So under typography or under the type tool, we can play around with it and get anything that we desire. So ladies and gentlemen, we are going to do a lot more in our coming classes, but for now, let us continue. Now this one is all caps. If you want to change to capital letters, you come and press here, all caps. So when you press it, changes to capital letters. Press again, it turns to small letters, small caps. So when you want to change it all to small caps, this is it. You can play around with that. Now superscript and subscript, we all know that. For example, if you want to write T squared, you shall come and write T and 2. Now you realize our we have not changed. Sorry, under characters here we were still rotating to 27 degrees. So let's come back to 0. So we have T2 and we want to change it to T square. Okay, so let's first go back and undo everything we had said. For example, this one, let's bring it to 0. And what else had we done? Okay. All right, so we can make this 2 to go up to be a square. So we highlight it, then we come to character here and we click on superscript, and it will be T square. Or we can make it T2 with a subscript. So ladies and gentlemen, those are some of the few things we can do. I don't know whether I've left some. To underline it, we can also use this to underline, or to cross through or strike through. So we can always use that. Please remember, when you do an effect here, this, what you have done will be saved. So the next time you open and type something, the other effects will still be carried up to here. So like for example, in our previous one, we had striked through. So you can see even everything is being striked through. So every effect you create, it will always be remembered. So you can always go ahead and undo. For example, this one we don't want to strike through, so you come and click on this and click on this, so that we can have our text back in the way we want. We can always color our text like that. Then we can also give it a stroke. We can give this one a stroke of that color. Then sorry, that's the same. Let's maybe say green. Then we can also increase the size, the weight of the stroke. So ladies and gentlemen, you can see how best we can do this. So I don't have an assignment for us tonight, but I want to give us a very simple task. Like, just go ahead and practice the things that we're learning tonight. Just go ahead and play around with the text tool. Go around and ahead and play around with these objects and all the things that we've talked about. Please, in case you've forgotten something, just go back and watch the video again. And remember, in our next class, we are not coming back to do the same thing. We shall just start a real design from scratch up to the end. Otherwise, it has been a nice moment with you, and I would like to end our class for tonight here on graphics design. Thank you so much, and I hope you're enjoying graphics design, or what we call vector graphics, using Adobe Illustrator. Let us meet again on Friday, same time, same place, with the same person. My name is Luke Davis from Agape Media. Please, a reminder, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, and like our Facebook page, Agape Media Uganda. Good night, and may God bless you. Thank you.